Up until the age of 12 in 2010, my parents always insisted that I have a babysitter. I guess being an only child had a lot to do with it. It might have gone on longer, but something happened with the last babysitter I ever had. He was 18 years old, and his name was Jake. It was the second time he was watching me overnight. Looking back now, I can see him as a really awkward, creepy kid. He didn't really say much. He apparently didn't know what personal space was. I was watching my favorite television show in the living room, and Jake came down from the room he was supposed to sleep in. He came into the living room and just sat down on the couch behind me. He didn't say anything or make any noise after that, so naturally I eventually turned around to see him looking at me. I don't remember if I found it creepy or not, but I do remember laughing shyly. Then he broke the silence between us and asked me if I wanted to play a video game. I wasn't really into video games. That was more of a boy thing, but I said yes anyway, and he went upstairs to my dad's room and grabbed his Xbox. It was weird that he even knew that it was there, but nevertheless I didn't ask anything. Maybe my dad told him about it. Jake went about setting up the Xbox in the living room, and we started to play. I wasn't much of a gamer. It became obvious quickly since he killed me like 10 times in a row. Jake decided to take it upon himself to get up and show me how to play better. He grabbed both my hands and tried to mimic the controls so that I could get a feel for it, for what buttons did. The way he was standing was so close it made me a bit uneasy. His body was literally leaning against mine, as his hands held mine while I held the controller. This went on for some time before I shyly said I don't like this game and wanted to stop. He looked upset and then said okay as he sat back down on the couch and continued to play on his own. I went upstairs to my room, and at some point I fell asleep. And as soon as I sat up, the springs in my mattress made a crunching noise. The sound came from underneath. I swear could hear shuffling noises come from somewhere in my room. I wanted to call for Jake because I was scared, but I didn't want to make too much noise. All I did was look around my room as I sat up in my bed, afraid I was gonna find someone. My eyes focused on the closet door, which was half open. I squinted my eyes to see better, but when a white screen came up on the TV, it gave off enough light to reveal Jake standing in my closet. I let out a noticeable gasp, and I guess he noticed. He came out slowly, shushing me, saying that is okay, with his arms out. I sat there frozen in fear as he came closer, telling me how pretty he thought I was. I knew what he was doing, and when I saw an opportune moment for me to slip through him into the door, took it. I knew to run to the office downstairs, which had a lock, but not before grabbing a phone to call my dad. Jake knocked on the door, claiming he wasn't going to do anything, begging me not to call my dad. My dad was of course furious on the phone and told me to stay where I was and he'd be home in an hour. But by then Jake left, but it didn't matter though, because my parents had his parents' contact information. They called the police promptly, and I explained what happened. Jake was arrested on some kind of charge for sexual misconduct with a minor or something like that. Ever since that day, I was trusted to be alone without a babysitter. And it's weird, but I still think about Jake at least once every other day. This happened March 18, 1998. I was in college at the time and broke. So I was looking for a little job to earn some money so I wouldn't have to struggle as much. I saw an advert for a babysitting job, and I thought, why not? While I was reading the ad, they wanted someone with experience, and that's something I didn't have at the time. But called anyway. If you don't shoot, you'll always miss. Lovely lady answered the phone. I said I was interested. She told me that she would pay me $150. I thought that was too good to be true since it's only for the night. She has 2 kids, boy and a girl. I was honest from the beginning, saying I saw she wanted someone with experience, but I don't have that, and she said that's okay, they are desperate since it's on a short notice. When I got there, I noticed how beautiful the house was. I got introduced to the kids and their mom left, so I was alone with the kids now. They didn't talk much. I tried talking to them, but didn't get much back. They were misbehaving, screaming and running around. I heard glass shatter and saw they knocked over an expensive-looking vase, so I cleaned it up and threw it in the trash. I warned them to stop screaming and watched whilst I made them food. They wanted a sandwich, and I did also, so I made myself one too. Brought our food to the dinner table. I saw the little girl crying and screaming. She was on the floor acting like she was in pain. She was a good little actress. I told her to get up and stop acting this way, but the little boy had vanished. I noticed he was already sitting at the dinner table giggling. They were thirsty, so I said I'll be right back. When I got back, they were staring at me blankly. Thought to myself it was strange. I had realized they haven't taken one bite out of their sandwiches yet, and I asked them why they weren't eating. The boy replied that they were waiting for me to take a bite out of my sandwich, which made me suspicious. I just thought they were being creepy kids. As I was about to take a bite, I saw something shiny. I opened my sandwich and saw the shattered glass that I had just thrown away in the trash. I stood up and got so mad at the kids and said, "Why would you do this?" And the little girl said, "It's a prank." I told them that this is not funny, as this could kill me. They laughed and said they were not hungry, and they left the table. I called their mom up and told her what happened and that I wanted to leave. She said that she will be there shortly. I called my sister to come pick me up and told her what happened. She was shocked and very angry. The $150 makes sense now. Those kids were absolutely crazy, very disturbing and unmannered. The mom apologized and I left. I never babysat again. After that, I found myself a job at a local grocery store. It doesn't pay as much, but at least I don't have to worry about glass in my sandwich. 2 years ago, right around Halloween time, I was babysitting for these two ladies who each had a son. They wanted to go out, so I stayed at one of their houses and watched the boys. It was around 8 p.m., and the boys were sitting on the couch playing on their iPads, when somebody knocked on the door. I asked if anyone was supposed to come over, and they both said no. So I went over to check the spyglass in the door, and I saw someone dressed up in a creepy Jason Voorhees mask. I walked away from the door and started pacing around because I didn't want to give that person in the mask any signs that we're inside. A couple of minutes later, I checked outside the little window through the curtains, and the person was gone. I didn't want to spook the boys anymore, and there weren't any more knocks on the door, so I just kind of let it go as a prank. A few hours later, their moms arrived back. They asked me how everything was. I explained to them what had happened, and they asked me at what time this had occurred. I said it was around 8 p.m., and one of the moms started to completely freak out. As she went through her phone, the other boy's mom had told me that right around that time, somebody had been making strange phone calls to them on a blocked number. They had disguised their voice. They were saying things like, "I can see you through your window." They didn't think it was serious because it didn't make sense in the context of where they were. However, in retrospect, we're almost positive it was me that the person was looking at through the window. They escorted me to my car, and I touched base later. Apparently, nothing strange ever happened after that, but I'm just really glad I didn't open that door, because I have a feeling in my gut it would have been really bad if I had done so. Please remember to like, subscribe, and enable the bell notifications. Additionally, if you could share this video, it will be very beneficial to our channel. Tell us what you'd like to hear next in the comment section. Good night. Sleep tight.